Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 7 of our TCW series in TW 2020. This is Malice in Wonderland, our first pay-per-view here in the series. And if you're just jumping in, this particular pay-per-view, as we talked about before, is kind of a Clash of the Champions type style. Won't be kind of your huge sort of blowout pay-per-view with every match being built up for months and all that, because we've only had 4 episodes of our main Total Wrestling show to prepare for it. So this is more of a kind of easing into the pay-per-view cycle of TCW. So even though this is a huge show historically, next year this will be a much bigger sort of Malice in Wonderland probably. And again, we're still kind of looking at kind of making some changes to the pay-per-view schedule itself. So we'll talk more about that in the future. But for now, this is an important show, but just keep that in mind. Not every single match, as you'll see with kind of the one we're opening with here, is directly tied to a storyline. So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind that I'm a little bit under the weather, so my voice kind of cracking a little bit. But we have a pay-per-view to get to. So we march on here with Malice in Wonderland. So we get things started off here. First match on the card is Joshua Taylor getting the win over Elliot Thomas, 10-24, the butterfly lock, so submission, which I think you'll see is going to be kind of a popular go-to finish here on this particular show. A lot of guys using finishers with submission moves. 69, nice rating to start things off. We're kind of pushing here that Joshua Taylor starting off this pay-per-view after main eventing Psycho Circus, which he lost to Aaron Andrews at that pay-per-view in the main event for the World Championship. So we're kind of pushing Taylor now opening Malice in Wonderland, and that will play into kind of a story that we have moving forward. So Joshua Taylor fans, I know there are some out there. We are going to be using him a lot more after this pay-per-view, but for now, this is just kind of him winning matches in the build to this, and this was kind of a late addition to the card. I kind of teased that a little bit, added in. So Taylor gets the win over Elliot Thomas. Bigger things to come for Joshua Taylor here in the future. So, all right, second match is Greg Gage getting a win here over Dean Daniels, and this was another one we kind of added to the card late after Greg Gage just successfully defended his TV championship on the Week 4 edition of Total Wrestling against Benny Benson, and this was kind of added just to give Greg Gage some work here. 65 for this one. Another submission, like I said. We've got some submission specialists here in TCW. So Greg Gage gets the win. Submission style with a proton lock here, 70 for an in-ring performance on this one. I did mention before, we are sticking to the thought, and it may change eventually. I think it'll probably have to change depending on kind of how we decide to do it, but we are just defending the TV title on TV right now. That was kind of built into the story behind the title, and so for now, we're just defending it on television shows. So this is a non-title match. We want to get Greg Gage involved, and he'll have some matches that won't necessarily tie into the TV championship. But for now, we are going to stick with that and kind of stay true to the story, although eventually I think that will probably have to change just to be able to keep Greg Gage engaged, if you will, with TV title defenses and having some of those bigger ones at pay-per-views will be important. So Gage gets the win over this one. Not many people, I think, were betting on Dean Daniels in this match. All right, then we go to a tag team match here, as it is Benny and the Fox getting a little bit of momentum back here after coming up short, in recent matches involving Jay Cord and Greg Gage. We talked about that with Benny losing that match for the TV championship. Good match, but came up short trying to get that one. But Benny and the Fox back on track here as they get a win over Maverick and Troy Tornado. A little, kind of older heels here, sort of stalwarts in the mid-card, if you will, with Benny Benson getting the pin on Maverick in this one. So 65, kind of easing into our match styles here, and some of these are what they are. This show is going to be really built on, I think, 2 matches in particular, and so we'll get to those a little bit later on. But for now, our undercard matches here, it's just I thought a way to give Benson and Fox a little bit of momentum back, and they'll need it because they're going to have something coming up here soon, as you're about to see, that we're going to start teasing and heading towards on that. But in-ring performances, Troy Tornado leading the way here, so still someone we can use, although I think a lot of these guys, if we look at it here, in terms of declining physical ability, so it's mainly just Benny and Troy, but still guys that are a little bit up there in terms of age, but hey, that's the majority of our TCW roster right now, as you guys know. So 65 for this one. However, what's important is what comes after the match, because Benny and the Fox, they've got this triumphant win. They're back on track, back to winning matches. And then we get Kyle Rhodes mentioning that there seems to be a commotion in the crowd, as the crowd are looking at this man sitting in the front row. And that is when Benny and the Fox here, they turn their attention over and they start talking to each other. And that is when Kyle Rhodes says, folks, that is none other than Ernest Youngman. Yes, you guys knew I was going to bring in Ernest. Here he is. He is officially here in TCW. And the crowd sort of, kind of looking around. And by the way, we did hold this pay-per-view in the tri-state area. And that is for a reason, because that is where Youngman has the most overness right now. So we decided to put this pay-per-view in the tri-state area. So Kyle Rhodes mentioning that's Ernest Youngman, one of the hottest free agents in professional wrestling. And so Youngman sitting front row here, and we have Benson and Fox staring at him. And so we just have Ernest Youngman staring very intently at these two in the ring as he is sitting front row with his very sort of mysterious look here, Ernest Youngman. And so we do debut him with the assassin gimmick. It gets great, ratings, so that's great. Marketable, we'll sell merch. Already off to a great start here for Ernest Youngman. So, yes, this was one of the signings that I think you guys knew I was going to bring in. I really wanted him to kind of be the first signing that we sort of debuted here in the promotion, and here he is making his debut on screen at Malice in Wonderland. Ernest Youngman staring intently as he is sitting in the front row here, having watched this tag team match with Benny Benson and Flying Jimmy Fox. So, 56, not really worried about that. The bigger story, as we said, Ernest Youngman in TCW. All right, now we get to one of the main matches here on the card, featuring, kind of this back and forth between the baby faces and our heel group, the Syndicate, as this gets a nice rating, 69 overall for this one, as it is T-Bone getting the win over Chris Flynn. So this was kind of a grudge match that we had played up over the past couple of weeks, with T-Bone, of course, being involved on the babyface side and Chris Flynn being the muscle of the Syndicate. But it is T-Bone getting things off to a good start here for the babyfaces in what will, again, be several matches involving them against the Syndicate on this show. But T-Bone gets the win, 944 with a T-Bone lariat. Flynn actually better, T-Bone better from an in-ring standpoint. I was like, I don't know why I looked at it, so I 57 at first. But T-Bone doing a pretty good job here. If we look at the dirt sheet on this one, T-Bone penalized for inconsistency, but overall, still an amazing babyface. Flynn's getting a couple of bonuses just for star quality and such, but overall, Flynn's someone that could be, and you're going to see this is going to play into a storyline, but Flynn not exactly at the top of the food chain in the Syndicate. So this will play into a story here with T-Bone getting the win over Chris Flynn in this one. So the babyface is 1-0 against the Syndicate so far on this show. Let's see if that can continue, but T-Bone gets the win. All right, now we get to the moment that Freddie Huggins has been waiting for. I don't know if anyone else has been waiting for it, but Freddie Huggins has certainly been waiting for this, as he calls Kyle Rhodes into the ring in what's been a common occurrence here in TCW over the past several weeks. And Freddie Huggins comes in and says, Kyle Rhodes, I want you in this ring because I want you to be right here whenever we find out who's going to accept the M-Hawk, the Matt Hawking Open Challenge, as Freddie dubbed it on the recent episode of Total Wrestling. And Huggins says, there are going to be a lot of people out there who want to step up to the plate to wrestle Matt Hawking, but here's what I do know. There's one person out there who's not going to step up to the plate to wrestle Matt Hawking or wrestle me, and that's Aaron Andrews. So we continue Freddie running down our world champion, who we know is out of action right now, and definitely so. Freddie Huggins running down Aaron Andrews, saying he knows he's not going to be the one to accept this challenge, but he wants to know who is going to step up and face his friend Matt Hawking here. 66 overall for this one. And Freddie and Matt Hawking turn to the aisleway to see who is going to step up and accept this challenge. Freddie didn't do well without a script. I don't care. And who is it? It is none other than Freddie Huggins' former tag team partner, Ed Stone. Yes, Ed Stone is back. And he officially is accepting the challenge. The crowd goes wild here. The babyface Ed Stone. Huggins and Hawking are looking around. They're throwing their arms up. They're not happy about this turn of events, as it is Ed Stone who is back here in the promotion, and he is accepting the open challenge of Matt Hawking here. So 63 for the segment. good stuff here, kind of the bonuses we get. But yes, if you were wondering where Ed Stone was, this was always kind of the direction we were going to get to. So as I said before, I didn't want to just kind of throw everyone in right away. We wanted to kind of save some of these moments to really not just try to start juggling 50 wrestlers or anything at one time. So we're really just kind of spreading some of this out, knowing too that Total Mayhem is our biggest pay-per-view. So we kind of had to sort of juggle the roster a little bit here early on, and we'll keep doing that over the next couple months. But so Ed Stone is back. So again, Ed Stone fans out there, don't worry. We always had a plan. He was going to be back soon enough, and here he is accepting the challenge. So it's official, Ed Stone versus Matt Hocking, one-on-one. Freddie Huggins is pissed on the outside, and that is really just angered Freddie Huggins to the point to where throughout this match, he is trying to get involved in it, and what do you know? Yet again, for the second time in the past several weeks, Freddie Huggins tries to get involved, and what does that lead to? None other than some botched interference as Freddie tries to go after Ed Stone. Unfortunately, it leads to Matt Hocking on the wrong end of things, and that is when Ed Stone gets the win at 15:30 here with the party's over following the botched interference from Freddie Huggins. So a 70 match here. I will take that for sure with these two guys. This actually, I think, is going to wind up being the second longest match on the card. Outside of the one you probably will expect to be the longest. But, this is actually going to wind up being the second longest just based on kind of the stamina and looking at different skills for some of these guys. So, Ed Stone with a 64 here, Hocking with a 58. But I like the dynamic we're working with right now with Huggins and Hocking, and this kind of adds to it, again, having Stone come in and be the person that accepts the challenge, given the history between Ed Stone and Freddie Huggins as former tag team partners. So, this just felt like the obvious direction to go with this, and so we'd been setting this up, as you guys know, really for several weeks now, and really from the start with Freddie Huggins doing the open challenge, and that was always going to lead to kind of putting this together to have Matt Hocking the one that takes the loss from Ed Stone here in this one. So 70, very pleased with this, and as you would expect, more to come between the two former tag team partners, Freddie Huggins and Ed Stone. All right, that leads us to match 2 of our Babyface versus the Syndicate series here, but this time around, it is unfortunately the Babyfaces coming out on the wrong end of things. It is the Elite, Eddie Chandler and Nate Johnson, getting a win on 11:58 over Divine Fortune, as it is Eddie Chandler getting the submission on Daryl Divine with a fabulous stretch after blatantly cheating. We've kind of pushed the Elite here as cheaters, and sometimes you got to do that with heels, and so we have pushed these guys as guys, remember, by any means necessary. That's the rule of the Syndicate, and so they cheat, they don't care, because it is all about winning, and that is kind of what we're pushing here in this tag team match. And so it is important, though, to note that Daryl Divine is the one taking the submission, and what happens here is that continues. These two continue to work over Daryl Divine with the submission holds, and even after the match, they throw Fortune out of there, and it is Chandler and Johnson continuing to go after Daryl Divine here, and it's just really applying insult to injury. So Divine is getting beaten down, the submissions are locked on, and it's really they're putting the pain on Daryl Divine here after the match, and so it's important to note that this gets to 62, and that's why afterwards here comes T-Bone. T-Bone is back as he comes out. Fortune's getting back into the ring, and that eventually sends Eddie Chandler and Nate Johnson retreating after T-Bone comes out to make the save. So they go over to check on Divine. We've got officials hitting the ring again. They've really worked over Daryl Divine here, and he is clearly injured. So with the submission moves and those kind of things locked on. So Divine is really selling an injury pretty hard here, and that will play into something, as you guys will see here coming up. But for now, keep that in mind. Daryl Divine sort of out of commission here after getting worked over by the Elite. But T-Bone comes out to make the save, and Fortune and T-Bone checking on Divine here as officials try to help him out. So 59 overall for this one. All right, and then, okay, this actually did better than I thought it would. This probably did much better than I thought it would. And really, it was just on the basis of not knowing what to expect from Bart Biggins here in a singles match. But nonetheless, a 75 I will take for this match is it is Doc Hammond giving the Syndicate the edge now in this sort of battle, the back and forth matches here that we've had, as the Syndicate go back on top as Doc Hammond gets the win over Bart Biggins in 12:30. The submission, again, I mean, the Syndicate are just, they don't play around when it comes to these submission holds. So Doc Hammond gets the win over Biggins. The Texas Cloverleaf does it. Looking at the in-ring performances here, we know Doc's a good worker. So 72 overall for this one. I don't guess really did a whole lot. We called it in the ring. kind of an open match. Really nothing of note here. This was just sort of a one to set up kind of Doc as the second in command of the Syndicate, getting a nice singles win here over a fine babyface, act in Bart Biggins. Nothing necessarily stands out with Bart right now. That could change, but for now, it is Doc Hammond doing, some work here and going again to the submission to get the victory over Bart Biggins. So 75, we will certainly take that for this particular match. So, all right, now that's going to lead us to our Tag Team Championship match. And 74 overall, and you can already see it, we got new Tag Team Champions, as it is Mighty Mo and Tana getting the win over the Behemoths, Killer Shark, and Titan. I know there's some Killer Shark and Titan fans out there, but don't worry. Them losing the belts here does not mean the end for them, as we have certainly got some storyline plans in place for those guys. But for now, they are going to lose the tag team straps, as it is Mighty Mo and Tana getting the win to regain the tag team championships for, I think it's either the third time for these guys. These guys were 3-time champions. I want to say maybe it's the third or fourth time for Mighty Meaty here, but regaining the championships as it is, again, Mo getting the pin on Titan after the plunging spinebuster. So Mo carries the match from an in-ring performance standpoint, 77. So great stuff here from Mo. Again, a 74. All things considered, with everyone involved in this match, I will absolutely take a 74. We kept it short at 8 minutes, and because we had to do the wild brawl. And stamina-wise, you can't go much longer with that, with these two guys right here in particular. Sorry again to Tana and Killer Shark fans, but stamina, not their strength. We did keep Killer Shark strong here. That's worth noting, and that, I didn't do that unintentionally. There's a reason for that. But stamina, we still get penalized. Even though we went 8 minutes, we did do the wild brawl, so everyone kind of went all out. That factored into the stamina a little bit, but I didn't want to make this really any less than 8 minutes, and quite honestly, I had to get that to meet kind of the threshold in terms of matches to angles on the show, so that was important to be able to try to at least get 8 minutes out of this match. But again, the more important part here is Eddie Peak tries to get involved, doesn't happen, and it's Mighty Meaty saying they were going to do exactly what they said they were going to do, and they get the win to become the tag team champions yet again. So afterwards, we get Kyle Rhodes coming into the ring, and he is interviewing our new tag team champions, and we've got Eddie Peak, as we see on the outside, yelling at Mo and Tana as the Center Society go off here and go towards the back, but Peak is just yelling at them the entire time, and again, we'll have more to come on what that means, but this gets to 65, nothing really of note here, but it is worth noting that, Mo just kind of talking up here and saying that we said we were going to win these titles back. They've always been ours, and basically they are here to take on all challengers for the titles, whether that means Killer Shark and Titan. If they want a rematch, they'll fight anybody. So this really just kind of pushing the baby faces, pushing themselves as they are going to be fighting champions here in TCW. So that's what we're pushing. Mighty Mo and Tana, the new champs, and they are not afraid of anyone, and they will take on all comers as the new title holders. So Eddie Peak, we'll see what his plan is now. He's clearly not happy about this, but for now, new tag team champions crowned here at Malice in Wonderland. All right, that's going to lead us again to another sort of grudge match here that we've been pushing is Jay Cord and Danny Fonzarelli, and this is one that I know you guys probably weren't expecting the upsets, and you're not going to get one because it is Jay Cord getting the victory over the Fonz in 12-10. The Cradle Pile Driver does it 75. To be honest with you, I thought this would do a little bit better, and I'm a little disappointed that it didn't do better. That's why we're really going to be relying on the main event now to be able to carry us on this show, but it was really kind of built that way. This was always kind of a one-match show in terms of getting those high ratings, and I will, again, be really disappointed if the main event does not deliver. But this match, I thought would do a little better just on the basis of Jay Cord. Again, an 87 from in-ring performance standpoint. Dirt sheet, if we look at it a little bit here, I mean, it's really just the Fonz. Poor momentum, stamina, decline. It's just a lot of those things. I mean, this match only went 12 minutes. But the Fonz, that's too long for the Fonz. So we could have kept this shorter, probably got an 80. But again, we kind of needed to meet some of those from a mathematical standpoint to hit the match angle ratio that we needed for this show to not get penalized. So I thought getting 12 minutes out of this would be okay, but apparently not. But the bigger story, again, Jay Cord gets the win. We know that Jay was frustrated about having this match coming into it. He thought he should have been in a bigger match, basically feeling like he's being held back from achieving his destiny of being the TCW World Heavyweight Champion. So Jay gets the win, takes care of business here, but again, Jay was pretty angry about this. And so after the match, Jay is not done because we get a 74 out of this one. And the Fonz is underwhelming. Jay looked good. What else is new? As it is Jay Cord who goes over, and you've got the Fonz just sort of trying to regroup here in the middle of the ring, but Jay goes over, and all of a sudden we've got Jay Cord just kind of mounting the Fonz here as he just starts hauling off with punches right to the face. He's just throwing haymakers right at the Fonz. Just a total beatdown here from Jay Cord, unleashing more of his anger on the Fonz, and he's just, going at him. These fists are just hitting him, and all of a sudden we even see some blood coming out of the Fonz here, right out of his nose. He's got a busted nose, and so Jay is just working him over, just punches, and he's just yelling in the Fonz's face, and so that's kind of what we get out of this, and Phil Officials kind of hit the ring here to break it up from Jay Cord, just a total beatdown here of the Fonz. So we've got the Fonz bleeding out of his nose. Jay is beating him down, and Jay is pissed off, as we've seen, sort of feeling like he's being held back here, having to have a match with the Fonz. But he said he was going to prove himself. He was going to show people what he meant, and, well, this was his way of doing it. Not just getting a win, but, again, just sort of really taking it to the Fonz here after the match. We'll see what happens moving forward, but this is an important segment for many reasons, so just keep that in mind. 74 for this one. All right, that's going to lead us into the build now to our main event between Wolf Hawkins and Sammy Bach. And we do get some pre-recorded interviews here from earlier on with Kyle Rhodes interviewing both men. And it is kind of Kyle Rhodes asking Wolf Hawkins here about this upcoming match with Sammy Bach. And you can see Kyle just a little bit pissed off about what's happened with Wolf and everything with the Syndicate, what they did to Aaron Andrews, our world champion. And that's when Wolf just says, look, it's very simple. Sammy Bach should have stayed out of my way because I've only got one thing on my mind. My championship was taken from me, and I will not rest until that world championship is back around my waist, and I will, by any means necessary, do what I have to do to get that title back. And so if Sammy Bach wants to step up for his friend, then so be it. But it's going to come at a cost, and everyone's going to see what that cost is tonight at Malice in Wonderland. So Wolf making it clear that he does not care who gets in his way. He will take them out just to get what he wants, and that is his championship back from Aaron Andrews. So 85 for this one. That's kind of Wolf's setup here for this, and we do get the pre-recorded interview as well with Sammy Bach. So this gets an 82 for this one. And, it's basically just Kyle Rhodes asking the same thing. What is kind of your mindset heading into this main event match? And Sammy just says, hey, the Syndicate are not going to get away with what they've done. I've been in the ring with Wolf Hawkins before. We know each other very well. But it's different this time around because this is personal. You attack one of my friends, you're not going to get away with it, basically, is what Sammy's saying here. And so he said that he's got to have a different mindset for this match. He's not about rocking. He's not about partying tonight. He's about fighting, and that's what Sammy Bach is going to do when he gets in the ring with Wolf Hawkins. So Sammy taking aim at Wolf here, trying to get a little bit of the revenge here for the babyfaces. So that is your setup. 82 for this segment. We go to our main event. Wolf Hawkins, Sammy Bach, one-on-one, revenge on the mind for Sammy Bach. Gold on the mind for Wolf Hawkins, who is trying to destroy anything in his path, and he has said he will do it by any means necessary to get that championship back. So here we go, 82 for this segment, and in our main event, it is... Okay, wow, all right, 93 for this one. So I will be honest with you, I thought this would maybe do mid-80s, high 80s. I was not expecting a 93. So we will absolutely take that for the main event here. An exceptional contest. And yes, we gave this one some time. 25 minutes and 29 seconds. It is Wolf Hawkins getting the win over Sammy Bach. A back and forth affair here. Pinfall, the full moon rising does it. But again, I am very pleased with this 93 because, man, I was not expecting it to be this high, but apparently we hit the right buttons. Now, what buttons did we hit? Well, here's what we did. We did a regular match. We called it in the ring, made it open, and we did do the slow build to make it sort of, kind of building up to the big finish. So by using that, I think that really helped us, get a nice, because look, you see we get the bonus here for the good job of slowly building the match. So that really, in all honesty, I don't think this could have been any better. I think this was probably as high as we were going to get for this match, and I think we hit on all of it, basically, unless Sammy Bach was not declining physical ability. But the fact is, we got a 93 with Sammy with declining physical ability. So I will absolutely take that on any occasion. And like I said, I think this is probably the best we could have done, all things considered. So I am definitely thrilled with this as our first main event of a pay-per-view. We're gonna have a lot to try to figure out how to top that. I'm just telling you, next month's probably not going to top it, given what I have planned for that show. But you'll see that play out here shortly. But for now, I am very pleased with this. But the important part, as I said, Wolf getting the win over Sammy Bach here in a tremendous match. 25 minutes these two guys go, beating the hell out of each other. But it's Wolf that ultimately comes out on top. That little extra something here from Wolf. So, Wolf gets the win, and that is when we see the Syndicate. Because, these guys do what they want, right? So here comes the rest of the Syndicate after Wolf gets the win. 74 for this one, so I really want that 93 back now. But Flynn doesn't look good here. That's always the case, it seems. But we have the Syndicate coming out. Wolf's just been through this hard-fought match, and now we have the Syndicate sort of circling. They're on the outside of the ring. Sammy Bach's in the middle of the ring on the inside. And so we have the Syndicate sort of circling the ring here, and that is when we see Wolf kind of giving orders to everyone. And remember, they're kind of circling the ring, so they're all in different locations in each corner of the ring. And we've got Wolf handing out instructions here to the Syndicate, basically making it clear that they're about to do the same thing to Sammy Bach that they did to Aaron Andrews. And the crowd is sensing it. We know this is coming. We've seen these guys do this before. So Wolf's handing out instructions. But as he's handing out instructions, as they're on the outside of the ring, well, here comes a little bit of backup. As we see, and I'm not going to have everyone involved here, and you'll see why in just a minute why that's not possible. But for now, we're going to do it this way. 76 for the segment. Here comes Chance Fortune and T-Bone. So Fortune comes out because he's pissed off. His partner got taken out, as we saw earlier by the Elite. So as we said, again, important to remember, Daryl Devine out with this injury. He's being checked on in the back. But Fortune is okay, and he's coming out here to try to offer some help to Sammy Bach. And then T-Bone comes out, and that sends the Syndicate a little bit backwards, because when you got T-Bone running out there, you don't want to mess with this man, as we've seen before. T-Bone will haul off on anybody. So we've got T-Bone behind him. So Wolf and the Syndicate still on the outside circling the ring. And Wolf is making it clear, okay, we still have 5 guys. They have 3 guys. So Wolf's just saying, all right, guys, whatever. Let's get in there and let's take care of these guys. So as they start to go towards the ring, we've got these 3 babyfaces on the inside, Wolf and the Syndicate circling the ring on the outside. As they start to take a step, the crowd explodes. Because why? Here comes someone else to help out the babyface side, and for the first time in our save, we see none other than One Man Army, as we know, the former tag team partner here of Doc Hammond as Scout and Wave. So we tied that back into the story here as One Man Army makes his way out. And so Wolf and Hammond starting to go after Bach. But here comes Army. So now we've got a 5-on-4 situation here. With Wolf and the crowd's losing it, we got One Man Army and Doc Hammond just staring a hole into each other here. Again, as the former tag team partners who split up several years ago. So now Sammy's got a little more help, as we've got Sammy Bach, One Man Army, T-Bone, and Chance Fortune all on the inside of the ring. But we've still got 5 Syndicate members on the outside, and they're still circling, and that is when Wolf says, we're done with this, 5-on-4, get in there and kick their ass. That's basically what Wolf is saying here. They're not waiting around anymore. So, 83 for this one, and if you guessed it by now, you probably know that the baby faces are going to even things up, and they're going to even it up because the crowd loses it when they see the next man make his way out through the aisle, and it is the returning Aaron Andrews, as this gets a 96, so a great way to end the show here. as Wolf, as I said, telling the Syndicate they have the advantage. But here comes Aaron Andrews, who makes his return. He's all basically patched up here. He's gotten stitches from the beatdown, all of this. But Aaron Andrews makes his triumphant return, and Andrews hits the ring. The 5 baby faces are inside. We obviously can't put everyone in the thing here, so we just left it with these 2. It is what it is, right? So we got these 5 in the ring, the baby faces. We've got the Syndicate on the outside, and now it is Aaron Andrews who calls the shots, whereas Wolf was, kind of directing the Syndicate to get in the ring to go after the baby faces. Aaron Andrews now calls the shots. He sends the baby faces outside the ring, and we've got a full-on brawl on the outside of the ring, around the ring area, with Aaron Andrews leading the way here against Wolf Hawkins as the baby faces take it to the Syndicate, and we've just got chaos here, brawling all around the ringside as we go off the air for this edition of Malice in Wonderland. So 96 here for this segment. I think we rated these guys as entertainment, so hey, we can use that as both these guys are, visibly talking to their crew. So a full 5-on-5 brawl here to end Malice in Wonderland and the return of our World Heavyweight Champion, Aaron Andrews, who was taken out weeks ago on Total Wrestling. So there you go, 96 to finish things off, and we get an 89 for Malice in Wonderland. We increase our popularity in 9 regions. As I said, I could not be more thrilled. I don't even care about any of the other matches because I kind of expected them to be, middle range, good, solid matches. Nothing too bad, but I knew that this was going to basically be a one-match show. I did think Jay Corden and the Fonz would do a little bit better, but all in all honesty, it kind of makes up for it with Wolf and Sammy doing about as good as you could possibly ask for to get a 93 for that one. And so we do finish as well with a 96 segment, getting the return of Aaron Andrews. So, I'm very pleased with this show. As I said, it was sort of built in the Clash of the Champions-esque style, but really it turned out to be a fantastic pay-per-view with a lot of great stuff. And as you see, I saw a lot of notable things coming out of this, with Ernest Youngman making his debut. We had the return of Ed Stone. We had One Man Army making his sort of series debut here, although he's been in the promotion to kind of reheat things up with his former tag team partner, and the return of Aaron Andrews. So a lot of notable things, and that's what we wanted to achieve on this pay-per-view. So a lot of fun storyline directions here moving forward. So an 89 for this one. We will make a few speeches, and then we'll see what we need to get to before we wrap up. All right, so Malice in Wonderland, an excellent show. We struck gold with this one, and a lot of good stuff. I mean, as I said, I could not be more pleased sort of with how that show unfolded, both from a storyline standpoint and from a rating standpoint. So Insane Machine is leaving the business, so 46 years old, out of there. That's notable for all you Insane Machine fans. Landmass also announced the decision to leave the business, 56 years old. He deserves it. So he's out of the business. But we got a note here. As Big Trouble in Little SWF, as the Vultures appear to be circling crisis-stricken SWF, who look to release several wrestlers in the near future. So, not ideal here for the SWF. What is going to happen with the SWF? By the way, we're going to leave that as a tease for the next episode, as we are going to do our State of TCW. If you guys are new to any of my series I do, and all the real world ones I've done, we always do a state of at the end of the month, and what we do is we go through, we take a look at our company size, we look at all that, we look at the roster, we look at kind of popularity boosts, what's kind of happening with the roster and the skill improvements, the popularity boost, those kind of things, and we do look at kind of the state of the game world to see where companies are at. So we will look at the SWF situation on the next episode. But this is kind of just more based around the pay-per-view, so we will get to that, I promise, but that will be in the next episode on this one. So we'll do the State of TCW for February 2020 there. So, all right, let's quickly look at this. Really no notable mail, but we do get our Malice in Wonderland viewing figures, 883,000 viewers. Fantastic. For that edition of the show. I'll take that. Pay-per-view buy rate gets a 1.76. Again, 883,000 buys. So my guess is we did some pretty good money off of that, but we will look at the financials and all of that stuff on the next episode in our State of TCW for February week 1. But for now, hope you guys enjoyed our first pay-per-view installment. As I said, we're kind of setting in motion a lot of things for the future. And it is worth noting, now we will start the build to the War to Settle the Score. And that is going to be a fun show based off of some of the storylines that we just kind of started here at Malice in Wonderland. So, again, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Hope you guys enjoyed the first pay-per-view. And as always, love your feedback. Hope you, again, are really enjoying this series. And I'm working on a lot of other stuff. You can check out the WWE, AEW series we have going, the Exploring the Seaverse as well. But a lot of fun stuff, too, in the works in terms of some new series we're going to start. Who knows? Maybe even some more Seaverse stuff we're going to have coming in the next couple months, and just a lot of other fun stuff here for TCW fans. So appreciate you guys as always, and as I said, on the next episode of our TCW Save, it will be the State of TCW for February 2020.